Hey there. Hey,
Hi.
everybody. Hi, Jamie. So, thanks everybody for joining us here today. As we know, June is Pride Month, and there is no better way to celebrate than by supporting all of those who advocate for inclusivity. So, I am joined by Jamie DeGrazia, who is an award-winning business owner, stylist, educator, as well as a proud advocate for the LGBTQIA2S plus community. And she chose a career path in the beauty industry so that she could bring positivity and self-assurance to every individual through her passion for hairdressing. And as an owner of Logan Parlor Salon and Barber in Chicago, Jamie formalized an inclusive education business model and a gender-free service menu, and she's here today to share it with all of you. So welcome, Jamie. Thank you for being here.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
So this is a
Honored
great
to be able to have this
yes, yes. Thank you.
conversation.
So can you tell us, because there's a lot of things that I just listed off about you. So educator, stylist, owner, entrepreneur, all of those things. Like, can you tell us just a little bit about your business and how you got started in the industry?
Yeah, absolutely. My pleasure. So, well, of inclusion, right? When I was in cosmetology school, if I think of a time when I did not feel um, a sense of belonging or inclusion. I was actually in beauty school, and my beauty school teacher said, I don't know where you're going to work looking like that. And I was like, that's kind of weird, like looking like what? And I guess I'm assuming she meant gay, because I was like, at the time I didn't have tattoos, I didn't have any piercings, and I was like, what is what? Um, and I was like, wow, like, where am I going to work? Right. So there was a few things that I knew I wanted and needed, which was education, was at the top of the list. Working with Redken, because I believed that they had really great education, and a place that I would feel comfortable and that I can bring people in my community, which were, my queer friends, into the space. So it was really important to me that I had those things. And a lot of the salons didn't have all of them. They might have had the education, but it was like an environment where, maybe I had an experience like I did with that beauty school teacher, where there wasn't a full sense of, belonging at high on the list in their culture. So that's how I ended up opening Logan Parlor, was because I was like, I really want a place where I could take my guests, where I'm going to get the education that I want, where I can feel comfortable, and celebrate, myself and also my clients that were like me.
That is somebody you will never forget, that beauty school, right? It's just not. It's something that happens in your life, but you did something positive with it and have grown from it and are super successful in what you do today. And you have developed Hair Has No Gender in this education program and creating inclusivity in your salon. And look at you now, right? Like,
Yeah.
go
Thank you.
back to her sometime, right? And show her what you have done, because it's incredible. And you should be very proud of that, first of all.
Thank
So
you.
when you created Hair Has No Gender first, there's a quote that you have said that we believe in gender-free pricing structure where services are charged based on timing, hair length, and stylist level. So when you at this point had your salon, where did those challenges, what were you finding as a challenge in the industry that you decided, outside of just that beauty school teacher, but what were some of those challenges that you thought, like, this is something that is bigger than just this statement and I have to help
Yeah.
create something like this?
Yeah. So for me, what had happened was I had been just servicing my clients, friends, and walking them up to the front desk at a salon that I worked at. And I had to say, can you charge her for a men's cut because she had a fade, So at the time, my friends that were, identified female, if you had a fade or a short haircut, there was just, it was either men's cut or women's cut, and the women's cut was twice as expensive because they everyone just assumed in the industry men had short hair, women had long hair, and that's just kind of how it was. And that's the thing. It's like noticing these things that just no longer serve. Like sometimes we just do things the way we've always done them because that's just the way that they are. But when I guess you're in control of your own business, you're like, hey, like this doesn't work for me. And I have the ability to change that, you know? But being able to like take a step back and notice what those things are and then have the, consciousness enough to say, let's take a look at that. So that's kind of what happened, what sparked it all. And then I just kept noticing, like, even in my own things, like I'd be shopping for shoes, right? They'd be like, ma'am, do you know you're in the men's section? I'm like, yes, I'm fully aware. Like, or going for a manicure and having to pay for the men's manicure because I didn't want my nails painted, which, yeah, it's just like silly little things that everything is so gendered. So, and for women too, it's problematic, like the pink tax and having to pay double for something. And it just makes sense to charge like parts and labor as if like at the mechanic, you're like services and product use. It was the same thing for coloring, So we decided to not, we opened without gendered pricing. It was just, barber short. We do it's just clipper cuts for like 30 minutes. And then it would be a short scissor cut, which would be like a short, longer haircut. Like maybe someone would associate it as like a razor cut or a pixie, like a cute little short haircut that's going to take a little bit longer than a traditional clipper cut. And then the next price point would be, we do chin to long. So anything above the shoulders is another price point. And then below the shoulders would be mid back. So there's about 4 price points in 4 different times. So you could say 30 minutes, $30, 45 minutes, $40, an hour, $60, and then mid back, like an hour and 15. But a lot of people now are doing it based on length or, some beauty schools just have one price, I've noticed. So there's really, we all own small businesses. We have the ability to do whatever feels right and is suiting to the needs of, our community and our bottom line, really, So we do have autonomy over the choices that we make inside our business and in our lives. So just taking like, sometimes we just have to like pause and notice, right? And then figure out what will serve and maybe what no longer serves can we let go of.
When did you open your salon business?
Yeah, so we're going to be 10 years old. So in 2013 we opened. So we'll be 10 next month.
Wow, that's congratulations.
Thank you.
And when you opened your salon, you opened with this type of service and pricing in place already, or is that something you implemented afterwards?
No, we opened that way. And in Rosie, we opened with Rosie, and I opened as a Summit Salon, which is the Summit Salon Business Center gave us coaching. And after working with them, they, shortly after we opened, they switched their coaching to be gender free as well, because I think they also were noticing how that doesn't serve everyone, right? And how it could actually be like quite discriminatory. There's a lot of states that it's illegal to charge based on gender right now. I know California, I think New York, Massachusetts, and Illinois has a bill, and I'm going to be meeting with our state reps to advocate for that moving forward. It's really similar to like gay marriage. Like 10 years ago, I also wanted to get married and we weren't allowed to. So there was like only illegal in certain states, and now it's federally a thing, which is, great for equality and human rights, So
10 years ago, you were the first, not only in the Chicagoland area, but in a lot of cities and states to probably come out with service-based timing and prices versus men's haircut and women's haircut. So recruiting, we know, is a challenge that all salons are facing right now, and they're all struggling with that. So 10 years ago, and even up to this point, what's been your recruiting strategy around because you have a culture in your salon company, and it is hair has no gender inequality, and this is how we serve people, regardless of gender. So how do you recruit?
Yeah, great question. So I think it's just been like attracts like, right? You kind of, for me, I was like, I got to get in where you fit in, and that's what I think we've used the first several years, but now I'm able to, that was when I was working behind the chair, but now that I'm more working on the business than in the business, like I built my team up and I'm able to see what other resources are out there. Like, for instance, now we're working alongside Canvas Me and going into the schools. And when we do these things, we do them with our values at front and center. You know, we value education and we value the salon's culture and the queer community. And that's what we go in with and talk about, and make sure that that's known everywhere. Anyone can see us, like digital window, like our website, our Instagram, in the salon when you come to visit. Like, we're just like known as this now because that is our core values and we live them to the front, right? So it's just kind of like a magnet now. And when we go into the schools, we set up like a little pop-up shop, so our branding really helps with that. We created this hair has no gender inclusive barber pole. So that is like a signal, right? Like the queer people who are walking by our storefront are like, oh, awesome. Like I probably belong there or would fit in there, or this place sees me, and we do that in the schools too. Like if I go up and I do a career fair, I'm going to, put up the gay flag. Like I'm going to kind of put our values to the front. So that's what we're really passionate about, is the queer community and our industry, and our education is like super important to me and to our teammates and to the future of our company and our industry, so really trying to support both of those things at the same time is what, my dream and mission and vision is for Logan Parlor, but also like for the industry as a whole. And I think that just, it's a magnet for people who have like-minded, goals and dreams and values.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a big deal what you're doing and how you're contributing into the rest of the industry and teaching that. And that's one thing you did mention though about how, okay, so back 10 years ago when you started and when you set your software up with Rosie and your service and your pricing, that's something that, people are challenged with still today, because as people are getting more comfortable with saying, I want to move in this direction, how do I start? Like, how do I decide what to call my services, or how do I, that are, gender equal between both or all genders? And then how do I know what to price them? So what kind of advice would you give somebody to just get started in making this adjustment in their business?
It's the coolest part, right? Like whatever suits your business needs, but really like just making sure to maximize your schedule. So if short haircuts take you 45 minutes, like those can go in between color services. So just it maximizes the schedule to have it like laid out in a way that is associated to time. So whatever it is, if like all your haircuts in general take 45 minutes in your salon, then you just need one price. But we all know that, some people will come in and want a transformational haircut, So maybe I've seen some people do like trim, like just reshaping, not a transformation. And another one might be double the price and double the time for a transformation haircut. And then you have two. It's like, or you can do based on length, or you can do short hair and long hair. There's really like no wrong answer besides like men's cut, women's cut. Because you're not going to have like a non-binary cut. What are you going to do for folks that like that don't identify on the spectrum that way, So I think you can get creative. I've seen people do like Yeah, transformation cut. There was like classic cut. Like you really can create this, and Rosie allows for that. You can name things however you want. It was really, really helpful in Rosie when, well, first of all, thank you for having the profile updated where people can put their pronouns in and have those great notes that pop up in our system. There's the notes that pop up for the front desk. You could pick where you want the note to pop up upon checkout, check-in. So it's very helpful.
Yes,
So thank you for that.
of course.
Yeah. But for color, when I wanted to, once I figured out that I needed to have those four: barber short, short scissor, chin long, mid back transformation, and they all go up by 15-minute and $15 increments, time and price, right?
Mhm.
Time is money, right? So we also did that with ounces of color because we found our service providers were like, ooh, I have to add on for the extra color. And like maybe that wasn't happening. So now we just do short haircuts, 2 ounces, chin longs, 4 ounces, or I'm sorry, barbers, 2 ounces, short scissors up to 4, chin long is up to 6, and then transformation or mid back is 8 ounces. And the prices are already addressed based on their length. So it takes like the emotion out of like, oh, I have to charge them more because I had to go back and get more. I'm like, well, yeah, because you use more color, they have more than an average abundance of hair, you know?
Mhm.
So it just takes the emotion out of it. And then you don't have to ask someone to, align with the gender to pay for a service. I know
Mhm.
this is also happening in under other industries like the tailor and like clothes. Like if I bring in, like it should be on the fabric. Like, is it silk? How does it need to be treated versus like men's shirt, women's shirt? Because the women's you pay more for typically because maybe they're, assuming that they would be silk or more time consuming,
Mhm.
So it should all just be based on what's actually happening,
Mhm.
parts and labor,
Right.
not anything other than gender, because it's such a fluid thing. People are, on a spectrum here. And same thing with their haircut. I might want a long haircut one day and a short haircut the other. And I know one's going to take half the time and probably cost half as less.
Yeah.
People are growing their hair out. I said, at your next appointment, we're going to book you for more time. And that's going to be also just $15 more. I just want to make sure you're aware of that, and they're like, okay, great. Like they get it. It's
Yeah.
like more transparent.
Mhm. Yeah, and you're right. And people are a lot more open to that and accepting of it if they know up front. Like you just said, you let them know about their timing or their price, and how that reflects for their upcoming appointments. And you mentioned the tailors, but also our mechanics, our auto mechanics have been charging this way forever.
Mhm.
They've been charging us by the parts and by the labor forever, and they separate it out for you. I've seen it recently, and they have it all listed for you, and there's no emotion behind it. It just is what it is,
It
right?
just
It is
is.
cost of the parts and cost of their time, and that's it. um, so that's totally spot on, and how we're kind of catching up now, and doing this. And back to like, how does the salon get started? I think it could be an idea where the salon maybe sits down with their leadership team, with some of their stylists, maybe get some of their ideas and their input on like what do they feel comfortable, what do they want to call them, what are some of their ideas, because then you get the buy-in from your team and
Mhm.
they're behind it. And then when they're behind it and they're excited about it, it's easier to roll out to your customers, and then everybody feels good about it. Right.
Yeah,
So if you're
and
totally
celebrate it.
unsure, yeah, celebrate. If you're totally unsure, just sit down, maybe start with the idea first of this is the thought of, how we could make this change in our salon company. And these, we're open for suggestions on what we're going to call our services and the prices. So with you being a summit salon, you guys work in the level system, right? So you have different levels of service providers. So when people are booking their services online, do they see that? Are you using the online directory for service providers so they can see service prices and timings on the online?
Yeah, so at the front end of Rosie, that first page, when it goes to our booking system, we have a little chart based on levels go across, and then barber short, short scissor, and then there's like this handy little chart. So if you go to, loganparlor.com, click book now, you'll see that, and feel free to take it and make it your own.
Mhm.
But inside Rosie, we've named everyone, like I'm L5 Jamie, and then there's new talent Logan, and then there's also salon apprentice, and on that chart is the pricing for each level. So it's really clear.
Okay.
When someone calls and there's two people open, there's an apprentice open, and then there's like the owner. You're like, oh, well, we have two people available. There's Jamie, the owner. She's at this price point. And then there's also our apprentice who Jamie's trained at this price point. What is your haircut budget? Would you like to see the apprentice or the level 5 stylist?
Mhm.
And like, it's really great for people, like sharing the reality of the situation. Just like we were talking about the mechanics, it's like, it's about us elevating and taking autonomy over our businesses too, like having that everything laid out clearly and organized and having like processes only elevates us as professionals, but it elevates the industry as a whole. Like we're setting new standards and like demanding respect kind of for
Mhm.
what we do, because I feel like a lot of times, we aren't seen in that same way as like other professions. So we have to have, these things in order to be able to, I think, really practice professionally in the future.
Mhm. I totally agree. And Kelly said, thank you for creating this program.
Yeah. Oh, thank you. I know. I mean, there's there's just a need,
Mhm.
Um, so thank you. And then I see K Ross has a question. Do you have any suggestions for making the transition to genderless or time-based pricing as far as communications to our clients? So this really depends on you and your culture. Like I know some people think that this is a political thing. For me, I think it's a social justice issue, which is human rights based and an equality issue and not politics. Um, but I think you should celebrate it. I think you should say, we're doing this in celebration of the queer community. And this not only is going to make a more inclusive environment for queer people, but it's also going to, impact our business in this way. And just like share reality with folks. Like you're now going to understand your pricing better because it'll be broken down by, whatever you say, pricing structure, length, time, parts and labor, however you want to word it. But being really transparent and celebrating the fact that you're making a shift in your business for the greater good of everyone, the clients, the business, the artists. Sometimes like we're late to things, like our guests are waiting. And I think this really maximizes the schedule because you get to really like hone in on what you're booking for when you're booking it. Like men's cut is so generic. Like, what does that even mean? They can come in with like hair to the floor and be identified as a man. And you're like, oh my God, this is going to take me twice as long as the time we have booked. Now I'm late for the rest of the day, So I just think it really maximizes the schedule. And I would celebrate it with your guests and as a team. And your idea of doing it together and coming up with names and getting everyone behind it and understanding the why behind it um, is really where you'll see, I think, the best impact.
Mhm. Also, I'd say K is if you're using Rosie already, you could utilize the marketing and create a newsletter that you could send out to all of your customers and letting them know about the update. So when they come in for their upcoming appointment, they're already aware of it instead of coming in for the first time and being surprised that their price, either service has changed or their price has changed, or knowing how to book. So if you need to teach somebody how to book a new appointment, because what used to be called a women's haircut is now called a shoulder length cut or a long cut, they now need to know how to book those services. So it's kind of re-educating them on how to use your online booking or what they're booking when they call in. So
Ooh,
you can a newsletter. You could send that out in some of your marketing. And then again, get your team behind it so that they can be excited and share that with their customers and saying, hey, the next time you come in for your service, this is what that's going to look like. So give yourself an 8-week period of time before you actually introduce it so that all of your team can get behind it and share it.
You know, that is so good. I love the newsletter feature, I just have to say. And then you have the automated ones that you can put up. When you were launching the Get Ready task list for if people wanted to go deskless, and have like the same approach behind that as this. And you could even like make a little video just like this about why you're doing it and what is going to be changed. That into the newsletter and, you know, have that kind of clear, honest communication with those features that are already set up through, the email campaigns. Great ideas.
You can find those. We did do that Get Ready to Go Deskless. I think it was like an 8-week series where they could go for every week, or maybe it was a 4-week series. Every week there was a step or a task to take, but you're right. You could do it the exact same way of like create a newsletter, let your clients know, and, you know, recreate your service menu so that people could get prepared and how to get your clients and your team prepared for that. So I love that. So Jamie, how can people
bite-sized pieces.
Sorry, go ahead.
Bite-sized pieces, you know, you don't have to go in and like change everything right now, but give yourself a plan, process, map it out, and make it a little bit more digestible for everyone to launch. And then it could be a celebration instead of a panic, you know?
Yes, for sure. So I have, let me share here. I want you to just talk about how we can get everybody involved, and anybody that is looking to participate, what can they do and what are the steps that they should take?
Awesome. Yeah. So Hair Has No Gender, we launched a program of curriculum. There's a 5-part series. And the first part you can take online. You could take it virtually. You can take it hands-on with a program. The program's available on Level Loyalty. If anyone is associated with L'Oreal or PPD, you can purchase the program that way as well. And we'll have some virtual classes too that are launched. So if you visit hairdressing.com, you'll be able to see all the different ways in which you can participate in this program. And the program is laid out here, which is 5 parts, and understanding and walking your team through the why behind Hair Has No Gender. Like, what is it going to do for you? You know, how will it allow you and your guests to have creative freedom? How it's going to support the queer community, like why it's important to create an inclusive environment, and how, right? More importantly, the how, you know, the why and the how. And then business development, like what are the things that we can do inside of our businesses? So taking a look at our service menu, our bathroom offerings, you know, like, is there a gender-free bathroom? Is there the pricing menu? Is it gender-free? How are we going to maximize the schedule by doing this? Like, all of the elements of what this could do for your business would be in part 2. The third part is the client experience. Like, what does your guest see and feel and take away from their time with you after you've implemented some of these things? Like, for us, we do welcome kits. So everyone who comes into the salon, they get a welcome kit, and inside is a Hair Has No Gender sticker and a pronoun pin. So we were like, hi, welcome to the salon. How did you hear about us? I'm Jamie. My pronouns are she, they. And if no one has practiced that, it's something that you can just like say a couple times and get used to, and then it just becomes second nature. So in our classes, we practice this and we learn about pronouns and how and when to use them and why they're important to the queer community, and what it does for the guest experience. Your clients, you want them to feel, you know, safe, seen, and celebrated when they're in your space. So we want to talk about ways that in which we can do that. So part 4 would be the consultation and technical skill development, which would not be in the virtual class, but would be on hands-on, because I love teaching short hair cutting and barbering. So we have a whole full day of the why, the parts 1, 2, and 3. And then the second half of the day would be hands-on technical skill learning, ways to consult, like how can I describe a shape without saying men's cuts. Like I've learned over time, I'll go into classes to teach and people will be like, well, I don't do men's cuts. And I'm like, well, what does that mean? Like, you don't like to work with men, or you don't like to work with clippers, or like, what's the issue here? And how can we get you comfortable with either one of those things, So really diving deep into the technical skill, like using your clippers, or just using short hair sculpture technique behind the chair. And the last part would be community support. So we do a lot of advocacy and pop-up shops and volunteering and things that we really like, really get us involved in the community, like not even the queer community, but like our neighborhood, So like we're part of the farmers market, and I'm part of the Chamber of Commerce. Like there's just like ways to really get involved with your neighborhood associations and also the queer community too. So it's kind of like what's important to you and how do you let that be known, right? So that is the program in a nutshell. But what we're asking of our industry, of the beauty and barber salon, shop, suite artists, is that you kind of declare your allyship, right? And become a Hair Has No Gender allyship salon or shop or suite. And what that looks like is we built out this interactive map so you can become a member, and it's going to like demonstrate your commitment to practicing these conscious efforts, right, for the queer community, and showcase your business. So on the map, you'll pop up as a little gender inclusive barber pole, and it'll share the details of your business. You'll be able to have access to our trademark, Hair Has No Gender, and the logo, and you'll be able to put the mirror clings on your mirrors. And also there's one for the front of your business. We just launched bathroom clings that say he, she, they, we, everybody has to pee. It's like really cute, and you just stick it right over your pre-existing men's and women's bathroom sign, just like things that we can do. And we have like I just created these enamel pins, just things that will like signal to your guests that, they're celebrated and loved on, inside in your chair. And then anything, we'll celebrate your affiliation, but I want to build this list of these like-minded service providers that are elevating the industry and putting inclusion to the front, right? And I mean, I think that would be amazing for training. Like if I had to go find another place to work, I would want to use this list, right? It's just simple things like that, like having this badge up on your Canvas B profile. There's just like so many things that we could do to like build this as a community. And this is the first step. So I think on the next slide, you can see some of the offerings that we have, which are the in-shop education, which you can get through Level. And then you can also have a digital class for your team where we just do this, and we do breakout rooms, and we just have this class, a deeper dive as a team training. And once you've taken a class, you'll be able to list your business. We're going to ask that you take this pledge, and the pledge of inclusivity literally is a checklist that you'll receive after the class of these practices. Do you have a gender-free menu? Do you have a gender-free bathroom? Do you have a policy in place, that says that there's no hate speech or discrimination allowed inside your business? Like really clear checklist of things that you can do to get yourself into a place where we will list you on the site so we can celebrate.
That's amazing. And
Yeah.
just, Jamie, I just want to make sure people understand when you're speaking about Level, for anybody that doesn't know, Level is a rewards loyalty program through Salon Centric, through specific brands that they carry. So if you are interested in seeing it, it is through Salon Centric. You can talk with your Salon Centric representative or go to the store and find out more information on it. But that's where you can find it. And they do vet out the businesses on there. Rosie is also through the Level Loyalty program, but it's not easy to get into that program to be listed on their website. You definitely have to put some work in to get through that. So congratulations on making it onto that list.
Right. Thank you.
That is, so for anybody that doesn't know that, I just wanted to make sure they knew where to find that if they wanted to jump in there and see those.
Well, this is what's happening, and it's so amazing. It's like I can talk about this all day, you know, but I live in my own little queer bubble, right? And it's not until Rosie, the L'Oreals of the world, the Redkins, these bigger brands, like, are all, you know, putting DE&I to the front, you know, and this is when we'll create change, like, together. So I'm really excited to partner with Rosie and with L'Oreal and just our industry in general. Like, each and every one of you that are watching this now, we're the ones that are going to make this shift happen, you know, and it's important, you know, queer people and people of color have been oppressed, like, in our world, and in our industry for a very long time. Like, we've all been separated by race and gender, and not saying that needs to go away, because, like, taking away community from communities, right? But it's just having a sense of belonging for everyone who wants to, you know, sit in your chair and create this sense of, you know, celebration and safety.
Well, and you said it, safe, seen, and celebrated. And that means safe, seen, and celebrated for everybody, regardless, you know, in your employees, your customers, your community, everybody. So I think that sums it up very well. And then this is where people can go to get connected.
And showing your allyship, you know, like, you don't need to be a part of, you don't have to identify as a queer person to be able to, you know, have a queer person be seen inside your business, right? Like, even as far as, like, different textures of hair, like, anyone who comes through the door should be, you know, see themselves in the room if possible. And what are ways that we can do that? And that, I think, is through, you know, representation and visibility, and through allyship. You know, it's really, really cool, the power that we have to either help or hinder, right? Like, what are we doing? So.
Well, and just to bring it all the way back full circle, is that as a salon owner or an influencer or as a leader in our industry or community, like, you never know who you may be helping to open a door for, like a Jamie, by being a cosmetology instructor, like, being inclusive to people and being welcoming to all types of people is huge and an impact in your business and in your industry. So I would say, Jamie, thank you for creating this and bringing this to so many different people. It's something that we definitely needed and to keep up with, and not just our industry, but all industries. And so helping to provide these safe spaces for people in every city, not just big cities, not just in big Chicago's areas, but all over the place, to be able to provide this for not just other service providers, but other people to feel welcome too. So this is amazing. I want to make sure that we can see this QR code well enough. So let me just put this one up here a second, because I don't know. I think we might be missing one. So if you want to go ahead, and this is the QR code on here that you can scan to get to the Hair Has No Gender website. Or if you're on your phone and you can't scan it with your own phone that you're looking at, you can go to www.hairhasnogender.com, and you can get all of the information that Jamie just was talking about. And if you have any questions in regards to setting up Rosie to the way that Jamie was explaining about, you know, setting up your service descriptions, or the names of your services, or the timing or prices, or the levels, if you're on a service price level system like a Summit salon customer would be using, you can definitely reach out to us through our chat on our website at getrosie.com. You can call your account manager or our support team, and we're happy to go through some of those settings with you as well. So awesome. Jamie, any last final words that you would like to share with everybody?
I mean, I'm just like really grateful that Rosie is designed and customizable and really has like the salon owner in mind, and that knowing that even creatively as artists that we're not all going to fit into this box and things need to be customized, and you're meeting people where they're at, and I just really appreciate that. So
yeah, absolutely. And we're looking forward to continuing to grow alongside of all of the rest of the salon owners. And as the businesses are changing and adapting, we want to be right there with you guys. So
yeah,
awesome.
thank you for the support. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, of course. Thank you. And I think we're good with questions too. So that is all we got. So scan the QR code, or you can always come back and scan it after the event here, and you can get connected to the Hair Has No Gender website.
Thanks, you, Lori.
Thank you. All right, everybody, have a great day.
Happy Pride.
Happy Pride. Bye.